We are here on Earth not just to indulge ourselves by living a good life. The objective is really to serve and to make a difference as much as we can.
The variety of the species and wildlife in the area and the vibrancy of it was captured so beautifully. And that beauty was what drew me in initially, but then the information about the soft edge and what they're actively trying to do to keep that environment alive was what kept me and held me. Because it was shared in such a digestible and easily understandable manner that didn't feel pandering as well. I felt like I was afforded a trip to the area in its natural splendor and got to be acquainted with some of the activities and the people who are there to preserve it and celebrate it. The care and the focus and the passion was just brimming from the screen.
This showcases a spotlight on the Shoreline restoration project. This dives into the troubles of erosion and how to overcome it. One of the solutions was to create an oyster reef along the shoreline. Without healthy shorelines, our rivers cannot thrive, and this one connects to one of 4 rivers in this area. They end this piece with the report that this restoration project has actually increased the spectrum of the native species along the shoreline, improving this environment in such catastrophic values that wildlife is actually coming back to make homes. It's important to acknowledge that there is a problem and this community has found the solutions to benefit this area. So very much so that they can see the benefits right now. As this environment rebuilds, it only makes us more aware of we need these pockets of nature to thrive so we can keep our ecosystem and way of life.
This film does a great job of explaining the importance of the shoreline to the natural environment. It's not something you think about when putting up walls to stop erosion, but just seeing how important it is to the wildlife that we have that natural edge. It was really informative. I thought that the use of natural light in this film was really, really beautiful and really well done. There was just some like gorgeous shots of people in this environment and just simple things, but the light just made it really stand out the way it was used. So yeah, and I liked the ending message of having to do well by what we have and conserving what we have and appreciating that. So we can continue to have it.
This Tides In is working to preserve the shoreline, that they're, being ecologically responsible. And, as part of the name, the tide comes in on the shoreline there. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of this type of work of, bolstering and restoring, a shoreline to preserve wildlife is not something I had heard about in a documentary piece before. So it was the first time for me. So I was glad to learn about this. Everything about this piece was done very well. It was very well directed. All the interviews and everything, and everybody was on camera, and all the voiceover was done extremely well. So it was nicely directed. The point being made was very clear all throughout.
Conserving Carter's Creek was a really interesting piece, about saving this creek, this shoreline, and saving, the ecology, the flora and fauna of this area as well, through industrial, like man-made conservation of this. I think it was really interesting. I think it's not something I thought was, I don't know why I didn't think it was possible before, but it's good to see that not only, can we be preventative, but we can actively, you know, act against these the taking down of these areas. And seeing someone actively do something about it was really, really lovely to watch. A really informative piece. It was pieced together really well. It definitely influences an ecological impact to the viewer, which is really getting that call to action out there. And it came together to be a really great piece.
So they just approached it from such like a point of like optimism and such a point of like, here's what we are doing, here's like what we can do in the future, here's how everything is connected, instead of, I don't know how to phrase this, because harping is not the word I want to use, but instead of like harping on where society and development has kind of taken a lot of these beautiful nature reserves and beautiful nature rivers and everything else, with eroding them and breaking them down and polluting them and everything else. I think the instinct a lot of times when you're talking about trying to preserve or trying to battle back and make sure that rivers, creeks, other like swamps, other, you know, beautiful habitats are preserved and are protected, I think a lot of the time the instinct is to go start from a negative place of like, oh, well, as a society, as humans, we have destroyed all of these things. And that's the kind of tone that they take. So I really liked this kind of approached it from a more positive, optimistic place where it was just more hopeful. Like the entire thing felt more hopeful. It felt more inspirational than it did.
This film will learn a bit about the Tang family business, the Tides Inn, and how they are working as well on restoring the natural shoreline so that species can survive and keep the balance in this ecosystem. It's beautifully shot and they use lovely music. It was quite engaging to learn about this estuary in Virginia and how these efforts and showcasing them can help others being inspired into taking better care of our environment. It's, as we all know, in the best interest of all. And it was just lovely to see they are making positive change.